What is up? We are TB3, guys. This is our first episode. I'm Colby.
I'm Will.
And Joel.
And we are TB3 Sports Talk, and we just we like our Tampa sports. We've all been fans since we were little. We've all seen some happy, awesome moments. We've all seen some terrible, heartbreaking moments. We don't like to be crazy or overreact or, be like rude or anything to players. But, we care a lot, man. Sometimes a game, it can make our day, could make our day stink. But we just got a lot of passion. So that's where we're coming from. I mean, I don't know. Is that a good,
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of the reason why I wanted to start doing something like this. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But I just love all Tampa Bay sports, and I think we're in a unique city, a place that really deserves to be talked about more. Mm-hmm. And I think we have the perfect outlet to do it, and there really isn't a whole lot else out there regarding Tampa Bay sports.
In some ways, it kind of feels like we're recreating the wheel here, but we're normal guys. We're your average Joe, and we love having conversations like this. So we wanted to bring it to the world of podcasting.
Yeah.
So here we are.
We've had some heated discussions in our group chat or in real life or, at the Trop, at Emily and Ray J, all those good places that we love to go to. But, we definitely see a need for more talk about our sports here. I know we live in Tampa. We're well aware of how much different type of fan bases are represented. But that being said, there are a lot of passionate Tampa sports fans, and we just want to give them something to listen to, hopefully teach you guys something. Maybe once people start listening, you guys teach us something, just all that good stuff. We just like talking about it, and we're just hoping to talk, give some good input, and, be reasonable. Don't we're not going to try to be like a Stephen A. Smith type thing. We're not trying to create headlines. We're just trying to talk and have a good time.
Yeah, so. We're not fantasizing about sports. We're not bringing up the hot gossip and drama. We're talking about stats. We're talking about what actually happened in the game, the results on the field or on the ice or wherever. I mean, I get sick of hearing people on these talk shows, and half the time they're not even talking about sports, and that's what we want to do. And I think that's what the average listener wants to hear. They want to hear about sports. They want to hear about their teams. They don't want to hear the locker room drama or the other stuff involved. They want to see teams win, and they want to know how these teams can win. And I think that's what we want to do.
We want to be the voice of your opinion. We want to be the place where you can go to when the game was great, when the game was rough. We want this to feel like you're in a room with your best friends just talking sports.
Mm-hmm. That's a great way to put it. And on that note, I think we should do something a little special for our first episode. Since this is our first episode, but we have years on years of Tampa Bay experience of the sports teams, we are going to just share our favorite and our least favorite, our happiest and our most heartbreaking moments as Tampa fans. So, Joel, why don't you go first?
All right, I'm the oldest in the room, so I'm gonna go old school. So I'm an 11-year-old kid. 2008 Bucs season, whole season where we're still in the playoff hunt, we're still in the picture, and that last day we're playing the Oakland Raiders. We need a win to get in the playoffs, and I don't remember the score, but I know we lost, and that was probably the first heartbreaker for my 11-year-old life.
My name's Will. Again, I think one thing that sticks out to me the most was a very warm day in the winter, week 17, 2019. Was in the stands with my dad watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers finish out a disappointing season. Little did I know next year they would go on to win the Super Bowl, but at that time it was pretty gleam, and just seeing Jameis Winston throw a pick six in overtime to lose it, that really stuck with me. And just you felt bad, and you felt like the team had no future, no answers. But little did I know.
That cemented his 30-30 season, though.
And that was a 30-30 game.
So,
I
something
can
to celebrate,
say I witnessed it, the 30-30.
That's history.
Season. forever in the record books.
We love you, Jameis. You're the reason we're called TB3, if we're being honest.
Well,
original.
and Longo. But, but yeah, Jameis is definitely bigger than Longo, maybe. Probably not. So when I think of some heartbreak, I was a stubborn child. I used to like to root for a lot of different teams. So it was not until I got a little older that I started really honing in on my Tampa Bay teams. And part of this maturing was really getting into some Lightning hockey. And one of the moments that really sticks out to me that was just painful has to be 2018. Capitals Lightning, Game 7, just an absolute shutout. Terrible game. I mean, just from the start, there was no goals scored. It was painful. It was just not fun. And I remember watching it on my phone, and I was like, this stinks. Why is hockey like this? So, yeah, that was terrible. But then they got swept the next year, and it kind of felt like it might be over for them. They might have to blow it up, and then they won 2 in a row. So, just like, how we right now are like, maybe the Rays are in a bad losing streak, and it seems lost, we could just bring it back in like a week. That doesn't really make sense, but I'm saying it. As for my favorite moment, I have to go 2021 Super Bowl, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think the reason for this is when the Lightning won, it was a lot more, it just felt like relief, like because they'd just been on the cusp so many times that it just felt like it was just like sweet relief. When the Bucs won, I mean, that whole season, like getting Tom Brady, getting Gronk, just everyone, all the players that have been kind of middling the years before, just finding it with Tom Brady and all the people we signed, just getting it together, and we just win the Super Bowl. Like, I know it was COVID, it wasn't like a full stands, but like NFC Championship going into Lambeau, winning, I mean, that was awesome. And we had some great, like, we watched it together, man. We had some great times. And then that Super Bowl, man, it was awesome because it was stress-free. They were winning the whole second half. It was just like a party for the whole time. And I don't know if I could have handled like a close game.
Close game would have been awful.
It was truly a Cinderella season because Tom Brady was our fairy godmother.
That's
Really
true.
was. Yeah, my favorite moment, honestly, and it kind of ended sad, had to be, honestly, Brett Phillips' walk-off in the World Series. I just look back and going into that game, it was kind of like win or that was it for the Rays. It would have been down, and the Dodgers only needed one more after that, and it was really a must-win. And just the craziness in that play, like, okay, Brett Phillips gets a single that they need, and then you go, okay, well, he's probably only going to get a single. They're going to need somebody else to come up and get the runners home, and then Mookie Betts drops it. Then you see Randy coming around, and he stumbles and falls, and you go, oh, no, that's it. It's all crashing down, and then the errant throw, and that was just an awesome moment. I was up at school in my dorm, and everybody else was asleep, and I woke everybody up because that was just so unreal. I'd never seen something like that in baseball.
I was running around my house.
That had to have been the
crazy.
craziest moment ever. Something that, like, you don't expect to happen in baseball. It's so hard to have any kind of miraculous comeback, and see that was crazy.
That was the only time I've ever FaceTimed somebody over sports.
We did. I remember that.
That was a good FaceTime.
Yeah, it was like that's genuinely a baseball play we might never see again. You're never gonna see a bobble in right field. Well, it's like Brett Phillips is in there. I think he was a defensive replacement. I don't think they ever thought he was gonna come up. And then it's off Jansen, who's like, I know he's blown a lot of games, but still he has been a closer and a pretty elite closer for a long time with them. And he just singles them in, and it's like you feel that relief of, I think the tying run was going in regardless, and then the winning run was, Randy slipping, and it's crazy, man. But that was awesome. It was a great day. I had Wingstop that night, I remember.
I'm gonna give the Lightning some love here. It was the 2015 season. They're in the Stanley Cup that year, and me and some friends, we go down to one of their watch parties, and the TV goes out. We're losing we're losing by a goal, and they had to put the radio on, so you could hear a pin there down at the park in downtown, and we tie it up, and it just goes bananas. It was surreal. Like it's one of my favorite sports moments ever. So if you were at that game, you were at that watch party there where the TV went out, you know what I'm talking about.
That's awesome.
We lost the Stanley Cup, but the Lightning won my heart.
Yeah. And it's like that. Like we said, that heartbreak led to triumph. Like 4 or 5 years later. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of heartbreak, let's talk about the Rays. We're gonna talk about the Rays first. They're in season. It's big. Big message. They're in a little bit of a skid, if you can say
It's only been like a 2-month skid. It's not that bad.
2 months is dramatic, but a month, yes.
Oh,
July has been horrid. So, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a recap through these last weeks of games. Maybe in the future we'll have a little theme song. I like how they do that in Talking Baseball. So, here we go. Last Monday, we're in Arlington, Texas, folks. Shane McClanahan is back for a nice start. He comes out. He is firing on all cylinders. It's strikeout. Changeup looks great. His pitch count's great. His velo is up. It looks great. His back is. There's no worries. We're all happy. We get a couple early runs. It's 2-0. We're feeling great. And at the end of Shane's outing, he gives up. Honestly, not a bad pitch. Just a great piece of hitting. Opposite field home run. Ezekiel Duran. We're 2-2. And unfortunately, in that game, I think it was after the 4th inning, I don't think the Rays got a single base runner. So, it turns out, tie game, leadoff double in the 9th, out, wild pitch, Rays lose. That's okay. Pretty tough way to lose, but we have a game right tomorrow.
There's always the next day.
There's always the next day. So that day,
Except when there's not.
Except that day, we have Taj Bradley versus Nathan Eovaldi. And on paper, it's not looking good. But Taj Bradley comes out. He pitched a really nice game. He's pitching really good. He goes 5 innings, 2 earned runs. I'm pretty sure he had like 9 strikeouts, if I'm remembering correctly. But Nathan Eovaldi, he shut us down. And unfortunately, we used to be able to hit against aces, but now we can't even hit against like mediocre pitchers in this July. So we were just getting shut down, and it ends up that we lose. Oh, yeah, that was the game. Okay, that was the game. It was 2-1. They got 2 off Taj. Kevin Cash left Taj in too early or too late. He should have pulled him after the 5th. He let him go out, and they got the 2 on. It became 2-0. Mejia got a double, 2-1. Then Corey Seager hit a 3-run home run that game. Pretty much put the game in reach. Brandon Lau hit a home run, which we thought maybe would make it so that he was going to have a hot week.
Maybe he was back.
And he's not really back. So, can the Rays salvage the series on a day game following 2 pretty tough losses? The answer, no, sir. The answer is no. So that day was a bullpen day. We started off. I'm pretty sure we had a little Littell, and then a little bit like Fauché,
Diekman, Armstrong.
Yep. So Armstrong, we might talk about him later. He's playing amazing, but again, the offense couldn't hit. And the amazing part about this game is the Rays scored. The Rays scored approximately 1 run on 10 hits.
That's hard to do.
That's incredibly hard to do. That game, I was watching that game at the gym, and I was almost losing my mind. Like, it was almost like embarrassing, how angry I was. So they lose that game. Brings in the Baltimore Orioles for a big 4-game set in Tropicana Field, where the Rays have been so good all year, except for this month, which is a common theme. So we have Thursday night. We got Tyler Glasnow. We got Kyle Gibson. And we got another L. So Rays get an early run. You're feeling good. Then defensive implosion in the 4th inning. Randy Arozarena. Don't know what he's doing. Then some lucky a bloop to get him over. Just the Orioles just making us pay for every mistake. It's 3-1. I think the Rays might not. Oh wait, Yandy Diaz 2-run double ties it. Are the Rays? Is this the moment? Is this the moment where they come back and they put their foot down? No, Felix Bautista exists. The Rays lose 4-3. Felix Bautista pitches 2 clean innings. And that game is punctuated with a double play, which only seems fitting. And then there's Friday night. We got a win last week, folks. 1 win. And it happened Friday night. And it happened.
A great day.
It was a great day. You know why it happened? This good friend named Zach Eflin was lights out. I mean, just fantastic. 7 innings, 2 hits, 0 runs. I mean, come on. We got a couple solo home runs from Isak and Jose Siri. Bullpen, who came in after, shut it down. We win. We split the series. Saturday, my good friend Joel's going to the game. He's sitting here. We're like, maybe he's going to bring some good luck. It's Shane McClanahan versus Grayson Rodriguez. What happened, Joel?
So there's like probably 60% Orioles fans in the stadium. It was really sad. I go with my friend down to the team store, and they give up 5 runs while I'm in there. But when I come back, we score 5 runs because I'm the definition of good luck. So that happened. And then our bullpen, which has been one of the primary issues of this year, comes in and gives up a run like we never even tied it.
Yeah.
And we lose the game.
That was 2 Pete Fairbanks blows this week. I love him, but he gave up 2 runs, and they were crucial. Which is, when you're a closer, every run you give up is crucial, unfortunately. But
it's okay because Raymond, their mascot, threw me a hot dog.
that is, you're hearing this straight from the source.
He threw me a hot dog, a bun, and a cookie.
Yeah, Raymond rocks. Unlike the Rays the next day, because they go into this game. Taj Bradley does not look good early. He gives up a run in the first, 2 in the second, on an absolute bomb by Gunnar Henderson. I don't really think I've ever seen the ball hit the Coke sign like that. But it did. But the Rays, stop me if you heard this before. They come back and tie it. Yandy Diaz, huge 2-run home run. We're all happy. We're all like, all right, Taj got us through 5. He really honed it in. This is great. Bullpen's coming in. Bullpen's been pretty strong this month, unlike the lineup. And unlike June, what the bullpen was. Immediately solo home run to opposite field off the foul pole. That's awesome. That really summarizes the Rays.
I thought you were describing the game I went to on Saturday.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah. The Orioles get a tack-on run, and then the Rays lose. They get a couple base runners off Bautista. Very close check swing call on Wander Franco. If I'm being honest, I don't really have any faith of Wander Franco getting hit off Bautista, but he could have. But you can't argue. You just got to live with it. And yeah, that's what happened last week. So if you're keeping track at home, 1-6 last week.
A very eye-opening week against potential playoff matchups.
1-6, and to make it even worse, since the All-Star break, they are 3-7, and for the month of July, they are a whopping 4-14. So it does not look very good. Doesn't seem like they're going in the right direction, but there is some good news. We do have the trade deadline coming up in just about a week, and that's always a fun time because when you are used to winning like we are accustomed to now in Tampa Bay, we expect them to load up. But will they load up?
I have one thing to add.
Should they load up?
I have one thing to add about this week. The run differential last week was -8.
Oh my God.
6 losses, -8. So they're not blowouts, but they just stink. Yeah, no, that's tough. But yeah, keep going. Trade deadline.
So yeah, let's talk about the trade deadline. Let's get into it a little bit. It's kind of a confusing year because it seems like in recent memory there are a lot of teams who kind of seem like they're sellers but might hold on to these pieces because just about almost every division in the MLB is up for grabs, I'd say, outside of the National League East, and probably looks like the American League West. Looks like the Rangers will probably
Astros got a shot.
Astros have a shot, but as far as I can tell,
there's only like 6 legit sellers, I'd say, which is bananas.
Yeah, this is a
6 to
very
8.
interesting weird.
There's a couple that are a bad week away from selling,
Yeah,
which
true.
we want to. anyone that the Tigers play, Rays fans, we're rooting for them. We want the Tigers to lose. We want the Cubs to keep losing. I think Cardinals. I think we can agree.
Cardinals,
already there.
yeah.
White Sox already sell. White Sox.
And
already sellers.
I mean, our most hated rivals right inside the division. I guess for our sakes, I don't think the Yankees will be sellers, nor will the Red Sox. But we want them to lose so they don't have any reason to buy.
This is a seller's market, though, so there might be some surprises.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously there's the obvious ones. A's are gonna sell whatever they have, which is not much. Nationals have a couple like random veterans that they might sell. Yeah, I mean, Mets are interesting. Mets and Padres, they're the underachievers, so we don't know what they're gonna do. If I had to predict, I'd say I think the Padres will end up standing pat, and I think the Mets will end up trading some of their players. I think Mark Canha, Tommy Pham, and then I don't know what they're going to do with the two old aces, but I definitely think some pieces will leave from the Mets. But I think we want first to highlight a little bit of how bad the Rays have been struggling and what is happening over the last 30 days, which is what my stat threshold was. 30 days, 23 games, right? So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to just start spitting some facts. So one thing I noticed with my eyeballs is the Rays are very weak against the sinker and the changeup. And when I looked up stats, that was backed up. So changeup and sinker are by far the worst pitches that the Rays hit against. And overall, the Rays in the last 30 days, which covers 23 games, which is probably, I know Will said 4-14 in July, so that's a few extra games, but it's probably a very poor record. The Rays are 27th overall in the MLB in hitting. I saw teams that were above them, included Athletics, Mets, I could pull it up, but there was some shocking teams. I think the Royals were behind them, and like the Giants and one other. But it was crazy to see. And some of the numbers that the Rays have in the last 30 days is a 666 OPS. I don't like that number for multiple reasons. A 219 batting average and 27 home runs in 23 games, that's not bad. That's not the worst thing, but just the long ball has been something we've relied on so heavily that you would like to see that better, especially when you see the Braves hitting like 6 home runs every day. And so when you compare these stats from the last 23 games to the overall stats, where the Rays are 5th overall in hitting in baseball with a 774 OPS and a 256 batting average and 155 home runs, it's pretty jarring. Like, to go down more than 100 points in OPS is it's crazy. It is really crazy. So in my estimation, I'm going off OPS, which if you guys at home are curious as to what the heck OPS is, it is the combination of slugging percentage and on-base percentage. Now, those two things, on-base percentage is simply your batting average combined with your walks. The percentage you do that combined, that's your on-base percentage. And your slugging is a percentage that represents the total number of bases a person gets per at-bat. This doesn't include walks. So a person with good slugging percentage usually hits for extra bases or hits a lot. And around a lot of baseball circles, they've gone past the on-base percentage, past the batting average, and OPS is what people look for as their main stat for a lot of people. So when you look at the last 30 days, there's 4 hitters that have a decent OPS on the Rays. It's Jose Siri, which it helps him that he hits a lot of home runs. I think he has 8 in the last 23 games. Yandy Diaz, makes sense. Best player on our team, hitting wise and fielding and everything pretty much. Luke Raley, having a really good last 30 days. And Isaac Paredes. All these guys have OPSs 800 or above. Jose Siri's is 796, but I cut him some slack. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, sorry guys, I'm almost done. There's a lot of crazy underperformers in the last 30 days. So we have Wander Franco has a 606 OPS. Randy Arozarena has a 558 OPS. Harold Ramirez, a 506 OPS, and Josh Lowe has a 655 OPS. And these are 100 to 200 points down from their normal OPS, and they're just struggling hard. So, you guys, anything stick out to you from those stats?
One thing that's interesting to me is I saw earlier today is Wander's stats have gone increasingly down since he got benched earlier this year. That's something I don't want to get too much into because I don't like that side, but it is kind of interesting to look at that.
Does make you raise your eyebrow.
Does make you wonder.
Did you guys see the rumor that was he was mad? The reason he got benched was he was mad that they did Randyland and didn't have anything for him.
That's the thing. I mean, that's a huge thing going on this year, and it's not talked about too much. There's a couple people in the Tampa Bay area talking about it, but it's the Rosarina Wander Franco rivalry going on this year. They're both trying to up each other's antics and stuff, and it's not really working for either of them, if we're being honest.
Yeah, that stinks. I hate that.
We want it all to work out, but it's hopefully it does.
Yeah, and obviously when you look at contracts, Wander is the one who's locked up. I mean, when you have players like this, you want them both locked up, and I really hope the Rays make a move and lock them up soon. But I mean, that could be a determining factor on if they do that or not. Which I think Randy has a year or two left, but still, that's just something you just don't want to see. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, you don't want to see that at all. And that kind of brings me to another point is a lot of people talk about veteran leadership in the locker room, and that's something that the Rays lacked. Something I don't want to hear is, we need Kiermaier back because he was the leader in the locker room. I don't really buy into all that. Because I think you have Yandy Diaz on your team right now. He's a leader, he's a veteran, and he's been leading his team statistically. He's been the hero in many games. He's been really their only offense coming out of this All-Star break that we just witnessed. So I wouldn't say I don't really know what's going on between Wander and Randy, and I don't think we really will know, or if that's even a big deal, or that's why they're slumping. I just think it's important that if anything, it gets resolved, and I think these guys want to win, and that's why I don't like it, because I think these guys are all professional athletes and they want to win, and that's why I think it's important coming up for this deadline that they put pieces together and pick up pieces, because there's no better way to motivate your team and get them out of a funk than to give them hopes for the postseason. And I want to say that Diekman in an interview on Sunday was talking about this. He said there's no better way to rejuvenate a team is to add pieces for their playoff run. So I think this coming up week is more important than ever as far as morale and starting to get back to their winning ways that we saw early this season.
Winnable games too. I know Astros on the road's tough, but they're winnable games. The Astros are not the same, are not what they used to be.
And this week too, I mean, with our history around the trade deadline, you often see when the Rays are going hot into the trade deadline, they'll add, and then when they're not, they kind of just stand pat. So this week could be crucial. We would definitely want to get a sweep against the Marlins would be awesome, and if we could somehow get 2-3 against the Astros, we'd be cooking.
I think that's feasible. It really should be. The Marlins, I think, yesterday they won their first game since the All-Star break.
Yeah,
happened.
they were on an 8-game slump as well, and they were losing to a very bad Rockies team.
We have to take care of business. I know Edward Cabrera is pitching tomorrow, and then Sandy, who's had a very rough year. So we have got to take care of business against the Marlins. Yes. You guys know, I like to be happy. So I have a couple things that since in the last 30 days have been good. And it's really nothing to do with the offense. But I would like to say that Sean Armstrong, Robert Stevenson, Pete Fairbanks, and Jason Adam all have whips under 1. And if you're unfamiliar with the term whip in baseball, it is walks and hits per inning pitch. So it's just a average number of how many base runners you let up an inning. So that's really positive, especially for relievers. You don't want those runners on. You want the innings to be as stressful as possible. Jason Adam had by far the most impressive numbers. He was doing just down the line. It looked great. I think he'd given up 1 earned run in the last 30 days, which is positive to see because he really was struggling in like May. And then one other thing I want to highlight is Tyler Glasnow, who's been pitching really well. In the last 23 days, same threshold. He has a 2.45 ERA, a 1.02 WHIP, and 47 strikeouts. And I think this is in, I want to say 5 games, something like that. But he really has been pitching good. It's been good to see because with the whole Shane McClanahan thing, which he's back. I know Saturday was a tough game for him. He definitely got unlucky, but it's good to see him back. Glasnow's pitched really good. Eflin has been the most consistent all year. I think we can agree.
MVP of the pitching stuff, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say so far he's been – I mean, Yandy's clearly been the hero of this year, but I think the unsung hero, the guy's gone under the radar, has to be Zach Eflin.
And I think he's been a real leader for the team, too, like what you're saying. I think when you look at the team, there's definitely an imbalance of leaders. I think there's a lot more of the veteran present in the pitching staff as opposed to the lineup, which is – it's all right, but you just – it's just I think when you don't have a bunch of like older players in the lineup, it definitely like slumps like this probably tend to last a little bit longer. So, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys have any more stats or specific things about the last few weeks that you guys want to share, or you want to go talk about some players we want?
I'm excited for the trade deadline. That's really what I want to get into.
Let's get some of them trades, man. They're juicy.
All right. So what we're doing is we're gonna have each of us is gonna have one player, one position player, one starting pitcher, and one relief pitcher, and then we're also gonna have one person on the Rays that we think we could benefit from them selling. So I think Joel, you can go first. Give us a position player.
All right. So position player. I'm a big fan of that kind of clubhouse presence, but I couldn't really think of anybody that I would want right now that could do that, like, and also help us with some of our hitting issues. And I've noticed lately, like, I don't know if the stats really point to this, but we have been having a harder time hitting that long ball. So to get some long balls into this lineup, I'm wanting some Pete Alonso. I know the Mets are saying they're not willing to sell him, but you present enough prospects to a team, and they could change their mind. He's a free agent after this season.
Florida boy, too.
Florida, get that Tampa kid back home. That's what I'm saying. We need some Tampa juice up in here. So they don't want to sell him, but if you give him enough prospects, I think they would probably bite at it. He's a free agent this offseason, so the Mets could just pull a Aroldis Chapman and re-sign him. And in that deal, I'd also just like sneak in a little bit of Daniel Robertson. I'd just be like,
yes, that's a big one.
Daniel Robinson pitched some of his best baseball in the Rays in 2021.
Just stick him there in the bag. Like, just toss him in like a candy bar or whatever.
I like it.
All right, so Pete Alonso would be my offensive player. And pitching player, let me pull up his name.
Man, I would love Pete Alonso. I think I do. I just love the way Pete plays, man. Just the way he's like slightly autistic sometimes with his like actions, but I think he's hilarious.
He's a machine.
He is a machine. He's crazy.
I don't know if it's gonna happen, but that's just kind of like my dream. It's like,
that's
ooh,
okay. I
want a small dream. Small dreams.
All right.
I'm gonna go Lucas Giolito for the rotation. He's having a solid year. Another guy, just a rental because next year with our 2 starting pitchers coming back that are having surgery right now, they'll be back. So right now to stabilize, I do Lucas Giolito. I think he's got like a sub-2 ERA right now, but it feels reasonable. Like I think he's probably like the second or third pitcher like on the market right now that teams want. So you might be able to sneak out with him. So I'd go Lucas Giolito.
I think something that helps us in that regard for him is I saw the Dodgers are a team that were heavily rumored for Lucas Giolito, but I saw today that they're looking and planning on a very a more mellow deadline is what the terminology was. Or like a more mellow deadline than expected. So I don't know if that means they're out on starting pitchers or on Giolito, but it definitely helps our cause for someone who has been so inked to the Dodgers. So
that'd be cool. That's one of those headlines where it's like, are they just trying to psych me out?
Yeah, I don't know.
Bullpen, I'm gonna go Scott Barlow from the Royals. He's His ERA is in the 5s right now. I will admit that. If you guys go look up your name, you'd be like, what is he talking about?
Hey, man. He's
But-
got the Royals defense behind him,
Yeah,
too.
the defense behind him. He's on the Royals, so he's clearly sad right now. But the 2 seasons before this year, so 2021 and 2022, he had an ERA in the 2s, and he's a free agent after the 2024 season. So I like that he's not a rental because I think we really need some bullpen help going forward. Our bullpen's kind of been one of those things that really holds us back at points in this season. Like sometimes we'll do good, sometimes we won't, and it's just kind of like I never feel too comfortable with our bullpen. So I'd like some Scott Barlow in our bullpen. I like his hair.
All right. I think we should wait to do sellers in a second. I'm going to – Will, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I think probably one of the biggest stories of the year is a comeback of Cody Bellinger. And that's somebody who I think was kind of written off from the baseball world last year. A lot of rumors of pot smoking and things like that. And all of a sudden he ends up on the Cubs, and he has been playing lights out. He, I want to say in the last 23 games, he's hit 7 home runs.
That's awesome.
So he's been on fire. I think his batting average is in the 400s. And I just think that's a perfect thing the Rays need, especially going in the postseason and what we saw last year where the bats were dead. We need somebody who's a spark plug type hitter, kind of put him more late in the lineup, who can do some damage and just I think he would just be the perfect fit as far as position player. And then I think if I am Pete Bendix and Eric Neander, I would get on the phone right now with the Detroit Tigers for not only a starting pitcher, but also a catcher. I think Jake Rogers, he's a young guy. I think he would fill the void that we have catching right now because I know Mejia might come back, but you just never know, especially with catchers. You're on your knees. You're squatting down a lot with that MCL. I don't know how that's going to hold up. And Christian Bethancourt, he is just hit or miss. He's hot or cold.
I lose like parts of my soul every time I watch Christian Bethancourt taking that bat.
He's about as much of an automatic out as you can be right now.
And we're trying to be nice, but dude, sometimes he will swing, and I'm like, dude, what the heck?
And then there's other times he's glorious. It's just it's too hot or cold. That's the issue.
He is the 2022 baseball. I would like to add something for Jake Rogers. I mentioned earlier how the Rays really struggle against the sinker. Jake Rogers is hitting .241 against the sinker with a .655 slugging percentage against the sinker pitch.
That is a perfect void that the Rays have that he would fill. And then for starting pitcher, stay with the Tigers and go Tariq Skubal. This guy came off an injury this year, so stats aren't that great, and he played pretty terrible against the Athletics in his last appearance. But career, he has a 4.20 ERA with a whip of 1.2. I just think this guy, he's not even that old either.
He's a young guy,
He's a young guy, and I think I know the Tigers are looking to sell. They're one of the solid ones that we know. They're going to get rid of some guys. And I think that would just be the perfect starter that the Rays could use. And we won't have to rely so much on the bullpen because I think one of the issues is going back to their struggles. Yeah, their bullpen has been letting them down, but they're also being way overused. I think that's been one of their issues, and we could just have had to because we lost Jeffrey Springs, Drew Rasmussen, and then we have no idea where Shane Boz is at, Luis Patino. We have no idea what those guys are up to. So
yeah, I think we all are in agreement that the Rays cannot continue the season with every fifth day being a bullpen day or a Josh Fleming day.
They're going to be gassed by October. Yeah. That's when you need him most.
You need him. I don't think Josh Fleming is. He's had some really good games, but I just don't think he's reliable enough. And I think when he's off, there's like no way for him to turn it around. He's just laying in meatballs. And it's kind of hard. So it's like with him there, it's like a bullpen day when he's off because he's not going to give you innings except for that one random Dodgers game. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement that the Rays absolutely need a fifth starter. The quality of fifth starter that's up for debate. I mean, I think you could go like, hey, we need someone to go with Shane at the top of the rotation, or you could just settle for someone lower. It depends on what the Rays want to do.
I mean, even worst case, you could stick with 4 starters and send Bradley down. I mean, this guy wasn't really even supposed to be up this year, and just because of injuries, he's had to. You could also go that route and stick with 4 for the postseason. It's not really out of the range of possibilities.
How do you guys feel about using Shane Boz as trade bait?
I mean,
is anybody going to take
Well,
him?
no, I
Is anybody gonna
definitely think.
buy? I mean,
I definitely think the way Tommy John is, and what it how people have bounced back. Wow, that might be me sounding stupid and going against my own point, but I think he still has a lot of value on the thing, and I think we could get a pretty big fish
There's only one way to
Shane
find
Boz.
out.
yeah, I mean, I agree. I think as far as technology goes these days, I mean, these guys are coming back from Tommy John's faster than ever. And I know he's not a pitcher, but I mean, you look at Bryce Harper and he's still playing. I mean, only like 6 months removed from a Tommy John's? I know he's not utilizing his arm as much. He's just playing DH, but you just
He
think,
played first base the other day.
and he was playing first base, yeah. So, I agree. I think as far as last year too, from what I saw, Shane Boz, I thought he played or pitched phenomenally. He was just a solid guy throughout his starts, and it really kind of stunk when he got hurt. And you could argue, has he proven himself enough yet? You know, are teams really going to trade or take him as a trade piece? So that's something to keep an eye on.
I mean, there's only one way to find out. So I never really think about him when I'm talking about the Rays. So like, let's see, man.
Who's your reliever, Will?
Joel actually said it was Dave Robertson, former Tampa Bay Ray.
He was so good on the Rays.
He was very good. And I think, again, that would ease the pressure of Pete Fairbanks and Jason Adam. I think, again, those guys are so good. And, again, we're hard on them a lot, but, again, we're asking them to do a lot right now. And so I think if you bring in a true closer like Robertson, and you could have, 7th, 8th, and 9th, Adam, Fairbanks, and Robertson, that is deadly.
I feel way better about
that. That is deadly
Yeah.
going into the postseason.
That's good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, because Fairbanks, I honestly don't know that Fairbanks is really much of like a closer. Like I don't think he really wants to be leaned into that much, especially with his like cold.
I don't know. I think
his cold hand thing. So like
his hands really do scare me.
Yeah.
What's up with the hand?
Dude, I mean, it's like a
cold weather, man.
No, it's like a condition. There's like a name for it, but I forget it.
That big boils down to cramping. That's what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think David Robinson would be a great pickup. Here's what I have. So, my position player, I have Alec Burleson of the St. Louis Cardinals. No sand in that. So, I know we just had a whole spiel of how we want experienced players, but this guy's 24. So, he's 24. He has a bunch of control left. But the Cardinals are really overflowing with a bunch of outfielders, and this guy is a outfielder DH lefty bat. I think he could play some first base too if we need him. But he's only making, for the whole season, so I don't know how that would chop up to after post-deadline, but he's making $721,000. So he's not even making $1 million. So and he's not eligible to arbitration until 2026. So he's got plenty of control. I think it would be a great option to platoon with Harold Ramirez, have him as a lefty bat and Harold as the righty bat. Because Harold, I love him. He seems like a great guy. He's so wholesome, but he has struggled really bad. So, also, I know we've talked about this about 87 times, but Alec Burleson is another man who hits sinkers incredibly well. I went on this tangent the night after the Rays lost to Dane Dunning because I was tired of seeing them suck. So Alec Burleson has a 714 slugging percentage with a 429 batting average against sinkers. So, and that put him like top 30 in the league. This is all off Baseball Savant. So I know this is not like a splashy deal, but I think I just think with the situation we're in, I think it would be a good option. Also, another thing is he could be definitely packaged with one of the starting pitchers from the Cardinals. They're not one of my top trade that I'm about to get into, but I would definitely be happy with especially Jordan Montgomery. Maybe not. Flaherty, I'm a little bit more iffy on, but if we got a Montgomery Burleson package, I would be very happy with that. So starting pitcher, I went pretty big. I went big fish. I went with the Stroman, Marcus Stroman, because he's having a career year. He's been fantastic. His ERA is just over 3. It's 3.09. It's been in the 2s for a lot of year. I think he had a big blow-up start this weekend against the Cardinals, which is like its division, so you see him a lot, so I can't even cut him. I can't even be mad at him. But he's got a 1.14 whip, a 3.09 ERA, like I mentioned. He's pitched 122 innings, which is a lot, and it'd be great. I mean, just like he gets deep in games. I mean, we watched it firsthand when he played the Rays. He went a complete game.
Unhittable.
Yeah, so he having him on the team would absolutely save the bullpen. He's making $25 million this year, and he has a player's option at the end of the year. I don't know if the Cubs would pay some of it. The Rays could probably finagle it if they gave the right stuff up. But
that would be an interesting one because I wonder if he would take it. Like
the player option, it depends. I think he would.
Probably would, but do you really want to play for the Rays?
I think he would. I think playing for the Rays is a lot more appealing than it used to be, and I think he would. And I don't know, something about him. I think he'd look good in some Rays jerseys. I could picture him in a Rays jersey.
He would look good.
Would love to see the number 0 again.
Yeah.
I wish Taylor Walls kept it.
He doesn't deserve 0.
He is a 0.
Also, talking about veteran experience, he has played 5 playoff games. Stroman has. He has a 4.40 ERA and a 1.17 WHIP. This was with the Blue Jays back in the day. But that's playoff experience. That's valuable innings.
That'd be fun. That would be fun to see him come out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I think he would definitely be he'd definitely be a starter. I don't know where he'd slot in. I think with the season he's having, I don't know. It's like you got Eflin, Glasnow, him, and McClanahan. I mean that is formidable. I mean that is you could score 2 runs a game and win a playoff series with that starting pitching. So yeah, I would love that. I think that'd be my big fish. And I have a feeling if the Rays do go for someone like that, a big fish, I think it will be a pitcher. My reliever is Kendall Graveman of the Chicago White Sox. This guy's been around for a long time. This year, he's posting a 3.56 ERA with a 1.2 WHIP. He's got 8 saves, so if we needed to throw him into the 9th inning, he's got a little experience with that. He's only making $8 million this year, so not much at all. I mean, very doable for the Rays. So I was looking because I know he is a little old. His sinker and his four-seamer this year are still averaging about 96 miles per hour. So he's still got plenty of life in that arm. And he's got a slider and a changeup that he throws with it. He has playoff experience too with the Astros. He played on them for 2021. They lost the World Series, but he played good. He had a 1.64 ERA and a 1 WHIP, which 1 WHIP you'll take that with a reliever. And like I said with the Cardinals guys, you could also package him with a guy that Joel talked about and Lucas Giolito. You could go for a package like that with one of the starters of the White Sox, which is something I always like to see because I think in baseball there's a lot of those package deals more than you think. I feel like.
Now with the trade deadline this midseason, I think more than ever it's going to be costly for the buyers. So are you guys willing to give up prospects? Like how willing are we to drop some players?
I think with the Rays and where they are, think about positions. Yandy Diaz, he's signed for 2 more years. He's there to stay. Wander Franco is signed for 9 more years or 8 more years, whatever it is. Isaac Paredes, young player. He should be here to stay. Second base, we don't know, but we have a bunch of second baseman prospects. Catcher, a question mark. Randy, young player, should be here to stay. Jose Siri, young player, should be here to stay. Josh Lowe and Luke Raley, both young players, should be here to stay. So I don't mind using a little bit of farm because I feel like the players up should be productive up in the major leagues for a long time where we're not going to need the farm as much.
Yeah, I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a minute because I think it's important to give up guys now more than ever because, like you said, Colby, I mean, this team is young. There's a lot of young stars and a lot of potential. But at some point, those guys aren't going to be young anymore. And do you go, well, we'll add some things here and, we still have our core, and if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. It's whatever. We'll go to the next year. But at some point, like I said, they're going to get older, so I think it's important now more than ever to trade the farm. Especially, I know they've been on a skid, but the way you start out this year, you got to try to finish at the top.
It was special, man.
There's only so many chances in baseball where you have a chance to win it all, especially with how the salary cap is and some of these teams, I call them the mega teams like the Braves, the Yankees, the Dodgers. I mean, you have such a short window, and you don't want to. You want to go all in at some point, and I think this is the year the Rays have to do it. So I think, to answer your question, yeah, it's very important that they sell the farm and get as best the guys they can get, and maybe even do something we haven't seen is spend a little more money.
Ooh, Stu, is that scaring you?
Spend a little more money.
Ooh. Just before we move on to who we think the Rays might sell, yes, we would like Shohei Ohtani. Yeah,
just to be clear, we don't need to spend 30 minutes on
yeah.
that.
Something interesting.
I'll give up the entire AA team for Shohei Ohtani. You can just have the roster.
Yeah.
Something interesting.
You got the mascot
they
and
were
the logo
talking
too.
about. The betting odds for Shohei Ohtani, number 1 is still the Angels that he will go back. Number 2 at plus 400 is the Rays, which is kind of crazy. They are number 2.
The scary thing is the Orioles are like where the
The
Orioles
Orioles
are.
and Reds. The Orioles and Reds are stacked farms.
Yeah.
So
Are the Orioles
yeah.
3.
And also, we're
I
gonna
love
get an obvious thing out of the way. Yeah, we would love Shohei Ohtani. It'd be awesome. They could open the upper deck. It'll be great. But another thing we're going to get out of the way, before we talk about trading players, we're going to say one that we all want traded in 3, 2, 1, Wander Franco. I'm kidding. It's Brandon Lau. Yeah, we all know Brandon Lau. He's making a lot of money. He's not really producing. I don't know if he'll get traded. I don't know where his value's at. If we do go big fishing, we might have to add a prospect, so they will also take Brandon Lau to get the salary off, so we can get the big fish. But I don't think if I had to bet, I would say he'll be a Tampa Bay Ray at the end of the deadline. But none of us really want him.
It's how many chances do you get? Because we always say, his big year's incoming. This is his time to shine. He's about to get hot, and he just never does. And it's kind of at a point where, again, like I said, how many years are you going to stick around with people? I mean, we want to win, and as much as he's been kind of like a hometown hero for the past couple of years, he's been because Rays come and go, and he's been here for a while now. It's just like how much longer can you be content with mediocrity? So again,
We all reminisce over like the 2019 and 2021 seasons where he had over 20 home runs, but it's just not coming anytime soon. And with a guy like him, I think there's a chance you could trade him to like a higher paying club like a Detroit Tigers, and you package him with prospects, and I think they would take him off your hands.
All right. Let's talk about the chopping block. Some players we might think might go or would be advantageous to go. So I think we're gonna have Will go first. He hasn't gone first yet.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me, but I think you got to look at what is valuable, what are other teams looking at as far as value, and I just think that one person you could package on this Rays team right now that a lot of sellers would be interested in is Luke Raley. He's at batting .268 on the year, 15 home runs, 39 RBIs, OPS of 893.
Whew.
But he's 28, and I know that's not super old as far as baseball terms, but I think if you do bring in an outfielder, like I said, I want Cody Bellinger, and we brought up a couple other players who can play outfield. You're not going to necessarily need him, and I think you got to keep Josh Lowe. I think last year was iffy for him. He got sent down a couple times. He got a ball to the face, forgot how to play outfield in Baltimore. But this year I've been completely impressed. He's batting .270, 13 home runs, and the big one, 51 RBIs. And OPS of 795. So I think if you were to get rid of one of those two, it's got to be Luke Raley, and that's kind of my guy. I think that a lot of other teams would see value in a trade package would be Luke Raley. So that's mine.
Just for the record, I disagree with Will. I think I would trade Josh Lowe in front of Luke Raley.
I'm kind of a Josh Lowe trader too, just because I don't know, something about the sibling rivalry between them just annoys me.
Yeah, and also I don't know. I think Luke Raley has a more consistent swing, and I think it'll be better for long term. But I like them both, and I would like for both of them to stay. But we obviously, when it's the same thing, when there's overloads of talent and there's lack of talent in other places, you want to try to balance your team out. So that being said, I went to a kind of a crazy one. I think a little bit. But it wouldn't be a crazy one if you asked me a year ago. This guy is coming from our bullpen. And this guy has caused me a lot of pain through the years. But this year's been awesome and amazing. And his name's Colin Poche. So, Colin Poche has had a comeback story of the century.
Kind of.
Since like May, he's been pretty good. His numbers back it up. He has a 2.19 ERA and a 1.13 whip, which you like your whip to be under 1. But 1.13 is not too bad. He also has a save. I don't really actually remember when that happened, but he has a save. But he's having probably his best year in the bigs by far. Last year was rough. We got onto him. All the Rays fans, we did not like him. But this year he's been rock solid. He's developed a nice little slider, which has been a difference-making pitch for him. However, I'm not buying it. I don't know if it's here to stay. So... And what I'm thinking, what I see is his FIP is a 4.47. Now, what FIP means is it's a determination on what someone's ERA would be if he had league average defense behind him. So, the fact that his FIP is 2 over his ERA means he's getting incredibly lucky, is what I'm getting at here. So, I would expect, as baseball tends to do, it's going to balance out. So he is arbitration eligible in 2026. No, he's arbitration eligible this coming offseason, and he's a full free agent in 2026. So we're losing control. I don't know what his arbitration is going to be. If his numbers keep up like this, it's going to be a pretty high number. So I don't know what we're going to do with that. And his value is very high. I know bullpen help is everyone wants it. So I think it might be advantageous. Wow, I screwed that up twice. To trade him right now and maybe get another bullpen guy. I like Diekman. If I was going in for a lefty-lefty matchup, I would prefer to have Diekman in over Poche, and that's what I would go with.
I completely agree. I would love to see him go.
Him and Beeks, it's like the 1-2 punch of I don't like you.
Yeah, I would love to see Poche go,
Yeah.
preferably in a trade.
Yeah, I think if we could get something from Colin Poche, that'd be the biggest W ever.
Yeah. Mine, for me, if in my dream we can somehow get Pete Alonso, and people probably won't like this, but I'm dropping Harold Ramirez.
Oh, okay.
I could see him later.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm looking at his last 10 games, and he's got some
bad. He's slumping bad.
He's got some hits though, like on the was that the Friday game? Either the Thursday or Friday game, he had 2 hits against the Orioles. So, I don't think he's worth anything. I don't think any team really sees any value in him. So I don't know. You might just have to DFA him, but if we were to get Pete Alonso, which is not going to happen, I'm just having fun here. I'd say goodbye to Harold Ramirez.
That's fair. Yeah, Pete Alonso is better than Harold Ramirez. I agree. So that's been a lot of Rays talk. We are TB3, so we did talk about it all. Lightning are kind of in the dog days of their off season, so we don't really have much to say, to be honest. But Bucks football is just around the corner. I can smell the cannons from yeah.
Fire the cannons,
Yeah.
get them going.
Yeah, we want to fire the cannons. So we figured, since we missed all of it, we're just gonna do like a quick little draft recap of the Bucks, and then once training camp gets a little closer, we will do like a training camp preview of like the biggest matchup and position battles to watch. So I think what
I can read off their picks here real quick.
yeah.
So in round 1, pick number 19, defensive tackle from Pitt, we have Kalijah Cansey. Round number 2, pick 48, we got Cody Mach, tackle from North Dakota State. Round 3, pick 82, Yaya Diaby, who is an edge rusher from Louisville. Round number 5, pick 153, Servachier Dennis from Pittsburgh, who's a linebacker. Another pick in round 5, number 171, Payne Durham from Purdue. He's a tight end. Round number 6, 3 picks. First one, pick 181, defensive back from Kansas State, Josh Hayes. Pick 191, 10 picks later, they got Trey Palmer, a wide receiver from Nebraska. And pick 196 to close it out, Jose Ramirez, who's an edge rusher from Eastern Michigan.
From the Guardians. Jose Ramirez.
Yes, from the Guardians.
Yeah. Okay. He's kind of built like a football player. You seen that the way that guy waddles? I don't know. We don't really. I mean, we're not gonna like go into like intangibles and big stuff like that. We're not draft experts, I would say. But I think let's just. I mean, what do you guys like about the draft? I think overall, I really liked it.
Let me just say yes.
It's a good draft.
I have been a little upset with Jason Light in recent years. I can't really get too harsh on him because he did pick up Tom Brady, who gave us a Super Bowl. So really, I should just shut my mouth and be quiet. But
he used to be bad. He really has. He has really gotten it together the last couple years.
He's gotten it together. But this draft, I'd say, in my opinion, was perfect. I'd say Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle. Everybody, you never really know until toe hits leather in September. But everybody's giving him comparisons to Aaron Donald. And I think pass rush was one of our biggest issues last year in the 2022 season. So you fit that need right there, and he can go so well with Vita Vea. And I think ultimately that might help JTS, Joe Tryon-Sharenka, on the edge out there.
Shaq
because
Barrett's coming back. Don't know
Shaq Barrett will be back. But so the more pass rush you have, somebody is going to get free. That's just how it works. Cody Mach, you don't really know too much about him, except he looks like a Walmart version of Ryan Jensen. But he is a big sexy from North Dakota State, perennial powerhouse and D1 FCS. So I'm excited to see if he will make the team, starting roster. I mean, most likely he'll make the team, but will he have a starting spot by week 1? We don't know.
I got a lot to say about this guy. I love him. I think this is my favorite pick of the draft. Him and the next one that Will's about to get into, I think, are the top 2. We needed O-line help desperately.
Big time.
We traded up a few spots to get him. He's a huge guy. He played tackle in college, but they're going to move him inside to guard. And it's just his frame, his ability, his agility, all that stuff is off the charts. He's really nimble, which is going to be, I think, if he's able to keep the strength up inside, that nimbility, don't know if that's a word, but that is going to really help out the team, and it's just a great pick.
And we wanted to see Luke get a key on the field, hopefully. Fingers crossed. The next guy, Yaya Diaby, edge from Louisville. Again, I just love how the first 2 out of their 3 picks were defensive line because, again, that was one of their biggest problems is they could not get a pass rush going. And they had a lot of time struggling to stop the run. So I just think these are perfect picks. One of my favorite picks.
9 sacks in 2022 in college.
9 sacks,
in like 12 games.
I'm just really excited to yell Yaya Diaby's names when he does some good stuff. It'll be like, Yaya!
Yeah, that's
going to be
cool. There will be some cool chance for him. I have to say my favorite pick of the draft had to be Servachier Dennis, linebacker also from Pitt.
That was weird. We got 2 of them.
Yeah, he in 2022, 42 solo tackles, 52 total, 7 sacks, 1 interception. This guy was a beast. And I think we look at another issue they fixed. Levante David, he re-signs with the Bucs, but how many more years does he have left? He is getting up there.
I think this is his swan
He's going
song.
into his 11th season.
How many years? What did he sign? Was it a 1-year deal?
I want to say it might have been 2. I can't. Somebody might have to look that up. But, again, he's on his way out when we know that. And then we also have a little bit of trouble in the linebacker room because we don't know what the future is with Devin White. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Is he going to hold out? I know he wants a better contract. He wants what Roquan Smith got. And as far as his play last year, I wouldn't necessarily give it to him, but I also think he's a young guy, and you want to keep him because he could be one of the best linebackers in the league. He certainly has the capability to do that. But we do have Servachier Dennis ready to go. And again, just another solid pick by the Bucs, and I think he will be a surprise star this season. Next up, we got Payne Durham, tight end from Purdue. I think this is another good pick. We let go of Cameron Brate, and we have Cade Otton, who has shown some promise, but you can't have too many tight ends. And so I'm excited to see this guy's got. He looks like a bruiser. As far as the last three picks, not really sure what the future for these guys. I do know that Trey Palmer at Nebraska was their best receiver. Super electric.
He could make the team as an inside receiver, slot
He
receiver.
could make the team, yeah. It's just we know with the Bucs they got a lot of dogs in there, so we don't know really what the future will hold with these guys. But all around,
extra bodies.
I have to give this draft an A-. I think this was a great draft by Jason Light, and I think a lot of these guys, rounds 1 through 5, will make an immediate impact on the team and one that we desperately need.
My only thing with the draft, it would have gotten an A+ for me had they found a way to maybe trade their third-round pick a little bit up to get some Hendon Hooker. I love Hendon Hooker. Like he's gonna be good.
Me, Colby Alfrey is still a Kyle Trask truther. I still am believing in him. We'll talk about that in another episode. The quarterback battle is gonna get a lot of attention.
We'll have a full Bucs in-depth preseason show at some point. But right now we're talking about the Rays, so can't really get too deep into them. Yeah, it's still baseball season. Still got to focus on the teams playing right now, and a team that really has a chance of the postseason.
You say that as you're wearing a Bucs hat and a Bucs shirt.
Well, I figured somebody would wear Rays, so
I'm wearing a Rays shirt.
I lacked.
We were hoping you'd wear Lightning, Colby.
Yeah, I lacked. It's all right. Yeah, I think that's about it for us today, guys. Please, this is gonna go out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. We're gonna be on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, so just follow us if you find us. Show it to a friend. We're just trying to build our way up slowly. So, yeah.
Before we go, I just want to get these picks in. So we have 5 games by our next podcast.
Oh,
so
I like this.
I want us to start doing this. We can do a tally. Maybe somebody will get a little cake at the end of the year.
Maybe some bread.
So we got on Tuesday, the 25th of July, Rays are at home versus the Marlins for a 2-game series, the 25th and 26th. Off day on the 27th, and then they go to Houston, play the Astros for a 3-game series. So I guess we don't have to go.
Would you like your pitching matchups?
Yeah, let's get the pitching matchups.
Tuesday, we're going to have Edward Cabrera versus Tyler Glasnow. Wednesday, we're going to have Sandy Alcantara versus Zach Eflin. Friday,
I feel good about
Friday, we'll have Shane McClanahan versus Christian Javier. Saturday will be Taj Bradley versus Hunter Brown. And Sunday, we'll have a bullpen day versus Brian Bielak.
There's so many day offs there. Why can't they put our other guy back in?
I don't know. But, yeah.
I think we don't have to go game by game for score because that's impossible. But I'd say let's go as far as record. Out of these 5, Joel, what do you think the Rays will end up in these 2 series?
I've never been much of a hopeless optimist, but I'm going to say it. We're sweeping the Marlins. We're the best of Florida, no doubt. Sweeping the Marlins. All right. It's the tale of 2 Tajes, so let's flip the coin there. I'm gonna say Taj is gonna do good. He did bad last time, so I'm gonna roll the dice on good this time. We'll lose the bullpen game.
I don't know, man.
And let's keep going optimistic. I gotta be optimistic on this show. We're gonna win the Shane game. We're gonna win the Taj game. We're gonna lose the bullpen game. So we're going 4-1 this week, boys. You ready for that?
4-1.
4-1.
Colby, what are you thinking?
I am very similar. The Rays have not broke me. I think they will go 4-1. I, however, think we're going to have both Marlins will be wins, and I think we're going to win the Shane game, lose the Taj game, win the bullpen game.
Well, I guess I will be the negative guy this week. I do agree. I think the Rays will sweep the Marlins. Like I said, the Marlins have had a rough stretch just like the Rays, but the better team should prevail. That's what we always hope for, and that's what should happen. So I think the Rays win 2 out of 2 versus the Marlins. I agree with the Shane game. I think that is also a win. But I'm going to have to say they drop the next 2. I think they go 3-2. So we will recap that next week.
Weird niche stat that I have. Saturday we play at 7:15 Fox game, and I'm pretty sure we've lost every single Saturday night Fox game.
Didn't they beat the White Sox? Randy.
I'm pretty sure
wasn't that Fox?
I'm pretty sure that was an afternoon game. But that's fair. But we definitely we lost Padres, lost Padres, lost Mariners, lost Braves. That's the ones I remember.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Sox was a afternoon.
Yeah.
Forgot,
All right.
Sadly.
You guys want to go out really lame? I say T, or somebody says T, the other person says B.
No. Hit me with
I got it.
hit me with some music.
I got it queued up. Hold on.
Oh boys.
And we're probably gonna get caught.
Who hits a home run this week? Ready? Go, Joel. On the Rays.
Siri. Just give me 21.
I think Brandon Lau hits 2 home runs this week.
What are we going out with?
Home runs. I'm gonna say give me Randy Arozarena.
I like it.
He's gonna get 2. He got his first hit. He was 0-12 since the All-Star break, and he got his first hit Saturday. And that did bring in a run, I want to say. So, yeah, give me Randy. He's back. He's ready to go. We ready to close this thing out?
Yep.
All right. Don't copyright us. This has been the TB3
This is
podcast.
valid. We fully understand it.
No, just like.